I never thought I'd be sharing something this personal with the world, but here I am sitting alone, talking to a camera, trying to make sense of the moment my life fell apart. If you've ever trusted someone so deeply that you couldn't imagine them hurting you, you might understand where I'm coming from. This isn't just a story about cheating. It's about love, betrayal, and the quiet moments where everything you believed begins to crumble. I'm not here to bash anyone. I'm here to tell the truth I wish I didn't have to face. It started out like any normal relationship. My wife and I had our ups and downs, like every couple. But we built a life together, or at least, I thought we did. We laughed, made plans, talked about the future. A broken bar, the small things that make you feel safe, that make you believe someone is truly by your side. But looking back, I now see signs I ignored, moments that didn't make sense, excuses that felt off, messages that didn't add up. And I guess I wanted to believe that love was enough to cover up doubt. I didn't want to believe the woman I married could ever hurt me like this. I didn't go snooping. I didn't suspect anything for a long time. But sometimes, the truth comes out in ways you never expect. It was just a regular Tuesday. She left her phone on the couch while taking a shower. I wasn't planning on checking it. I swear I wasn't. But a message popped up, one of those preview notifications that you can't unsee once you catch a glance. And in that instant, my stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. It was a message that no husband should ever read. And suddenly, everything around me felt unfamiliar. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to be sure. I wanted to believe there was some explanation or some misunderstanding. But the more I looked, the clearer it became. There were patterns, late-night texts, deleted calls, changes in how she spoke to me, how she touched me, a broken bar or other, how she stopped. And the person she was with, let's just say that part made the whole thing even worse. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was who she chose to betray me with. I'm sharing this not because I want pity, but because I know I am not alone. I know someone out there is watching this and feeling that same gut-wrenching confusion, that same heartbreak. Maybe you're in a relationship where things aren't adding up. Maybe you're afraid to look too close because you're scared of what you'll find. I get it. I was there too. What happened next changed everything for me. The moment I decided to confront her, a broken bar, let's just say I didn't expect what she said or how she reacted. That moment it broke something in me. And I'll share exactly what went down in part 2. But trust me when I say, this story is only just getting started. After that night, everything felt like it was moving in slow motion. I was walking around the house like a stranger, looking at the walls, the photos, our memories, wondering which ones were real and which were just part of the lie. Every smile in those pictures now looked different to me. Every I love you I used to believe now echoed in my head like a joke I didn't get at the time. I didn't say anything to her right away. I needed time to process it, to think clearly. I started paying closer attention. When she said she was going out with friends, I watched how long she was gone. When she came home, I looked at her face, trying to read something or anything. But the worst part, she acted like everything was normal. I kept asking myself, how long had this been going on? Was it months? A year? Had she ever even stopped loving me, or did she just get tired of pretending? I remember one night, she kissed me on the forehead before going to bed. Just a simple kiss. But I laid there wide awake wondering if she had kissed him the same way earlier that day. It messes with your head. Every little thing becomes suspicious. Her laughter, her phone always face down, how she suddenly started dressing up more. At first, I thought maybe she just wanted to feel good again. But deep down, I knew something was off. My gut had been warning me long before I admitted it to myself. I started checking old bank statements, looking through photos, checking timestamps. I wasn't proud of it, but I needed answers. I found Uber rides that didn't match her stories, dinners that I wasn't part of, a hotel booking under her name. That one hit hard. I just stared at the screen, hoping it was a mistake. But it wasn't. The more I uncovered, the more I realized this wasn't just a one-time thing. It had layers. It had planning. She had put effort into hiding it. I didn't recognize the woman I was living with anymore. And as painful as it was, I knew I couldn't stay silent much longer. But what scared me most wasn't the betrayal, it was the possibility that I'd been the only one trying, the only one holding on. There was still one more piece I hadn't figured out yet: who he was. And when I found out her broken bar, it changed everything. But that's where things really start to unravel. I still remember the moment I found out who the other man was. My hands were cold, heart pounding in my chest, staring at his name on a message she forgot to delete. It wasn't just some stranger or someone far removed from our lives. It was someone I knew, someone we both knew. That made the betrayal feel 1,000 times heavier. It wasn't just infidelity, it was deception rooted in familiarity. That's when the anger started to grow. Not loud, screaming anger or broken bar, but that quiet kind that sits in your stomach and eats at you from the inside. What hurt more was realizing how many times I had welcomed him into our home. We'd shared laughs, drinks, even deep conversations about life and trust. And all the while, behind my back, something else was going on. I started replaying every gathering, every interaction between them. The side glances I thought were harmless, the moments I stepped out of the room as suddenly, they all felt like clues I missed. It wasn't just a broken relationship now, it felt like my entire sense of reality had been messed with. What made things worse was her behavior didn't change. She still kissed me goodbye in the mornings, still asked me how my day was, still smiled like nothing was wrong. That was the most chilling part, of how normal she made everything seem while living a double life. And I started wondering, a broken bar, was she ever planning to tell me? Or was I supposed to keep living in the dark forever? I couldn't talk to anyone about it, not yet. It felt embarrassing, confusing. I didn't want pity, I wanted clarity. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't just about her cheating. It was about everything that came with it, the lies, the manipulation, the silence. And I wasn't even close to the end of the story. There was a point where I couldn't keep it all inside anymore. I had reached my limit. The silence was heavy. The pretending was exhausting. Every night, I'd lie next to her, staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone could fake love so well. I had all the proof I needed: the screenshots, the messages, the hotel receipt, the Uber drop-off right near his place. And yet, I hadn't said a word. I kept rehearsing how I'd confront her, over and over, but nothing ever felt right. I didn't want to just explode. I wanted her to see what she'd done through my eyes. One night, I came home a little earlier than usual. I didn't tell her I was on the way. I sat in the car outside, just watching the windows. My heart was racing. I didn't even know what I was hoping to see: a shadow, a second voice. Her reaction when I walked in without warning. I wasn't even sure anymore if I was searching for truth or just preparing for more pain. When I finally walked inside, the house felt different. Still, too still. Like the calm before something bad. She was there, sitting on the couch, phone in hand, like everything was fine. But her face changed when she saw me, just for a second. That flicker of surprise. That was all I needed. I sat down across from her, pulled out my phone, and placed it on the table. I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her, waiting. Her eyes went from the phone to my face, and I could see her mind racing, trying to figure out what I knew. That silence between us, it was louder than any screaming match could ever be. And then I asked, "Do you love him?" She didn't answer at first. She just stared at me, frozen. I could see her trying to keep calm, but her hands were shaking slightly. I repeated the question, slower this time: "Do you love him?" That's when the tears started. Not loud crying, not guilt, just quiet, shaky breathing and a look I couldn't read. She finally whispered, "It's not what you think." That sentence hit me harder than a straight confession, because that's what people say when they know it's exactly what you think, maybe worse. She said they were just friends at first, and that it just happened. But that wasn't the twist. I was ready for some version of that. What I wasn't ready for was what she said next. She looked down and said, "I didn't want to tell you because it's not just about him." My heart dropped. I leaned in. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then looked me in the eye and said, "There's someone else." It wasn't just him. That moment it was like the floor disappeared from under me. Everything went silent. I couldn't even react. I felt numb. I had been preparing myself for one betrayal. I had been playing that version of the story over and over in my head. But two different people? I couldn't wrap my head around it. I asked her who. She wouldn't say at first. But after I pressed, she gave me a name, and I swear, I felt sick to my stomach. It was someone from my own circle. Someone I had opened up to during one of the hardest years of my life. Someone I trusted with things I hadn't even told her. That was the second knife. I stood up. I couldn't even look at her. Everything about the room felt different now. The couch we sat on together, the photos on the wall, the scent of her perfume. It all made me feel like a stranger in my own life. This wasn't just infidelity anymore. This was a pattern, a choice, a series of choices that had been made while I was busy trying to hold everything together. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there, wondering how many more secrets were still buried. Because now, I wasn't sure I had heard the whole truth. Not even close. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the living room, lights off, staring at the floor, trying to make sense of how the person I loved had turned into someone I didn't recognize. The two names she gave me are both people I had trusted. I kept circling in my head like a storm that wouldn't pass. By morning, I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't keep pretending. I couldn't keep living in a home built on lies. So I told her I wanted the truth, all of it. No more half explanations. No more dodging. She finally broke. She told me everything. How it started with one mistake, and then another. How she felt lost and confused, and how instead of talking to me, she talked to them. She said it was never about love, it was about feeling seen. I wanted to scream. I had seen her. I had been there, through every hard time, every struggle, every quiet night when things felt too heavy. I had never once turned my back on her. But apparently, that hadn't been enough. I packed the bag that same day. I told her I needed space, maybe for good. She didn't stop me, just stood there, crying, asking if I could ever forgive her. And that's when the final twist hit me, as something I never expected. As I was walking out the door, she whispered something behind me. She said, "It wasn't just me." I turned around, confused. She looked straight at me and said, "One of them, a broken bar, said you already knew. Said you were just pretending not to." I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. I didn't know if she was lying again or trying to shift the blame. But that seed she planted, it stayed with me. Had I ignored the truth longer than I realized? Had I played a part in this mess without even knowing it? That's the thing about betrayal, it makes you question everything, even yourself. And as much as I wanted closure, I realized I might never get it. Some questions don't have clean answers. Some endings don't come with a final line. But walking away, I knew one thing for sure: I deserved more than silence, more than secrets, more than someone who could lie straight to my face. And maybe, just maybe, the real story wasn't about what she did, a broken bar, but about how I finally chose myself. The days after I left were quiet. Not peaceful, just quiet. The kind of silence where everything echoes: some memories, regrets, questions. I stayed with a friend for a while, someone who didn't ask for too many details but just gave me space. I started going on long walks without a destination, just trying to clear my head. It's strange how quickly your life can shift. One moment, you're planning dinner, talking about vacations, laughing at a show you've both seen 100 times. The next, you're living out of a bag, trying to rebuild a sense of who you are without the person you thought would never leave your side. Eventually, I stopped waiting for another message from her. She texted a few times, said she was sorry, said she missed me. But I never answered, because I knew that even if she meant it, it didn't change the damage. Trust, once broken like that, doesn't just come back with a few words. And the truth is, I wasn't angry anymore. I was tired. Tired of trying to figure out how I didn't see it. Tired of carrying it all alone. I started therapy, which helped more than I expected, talking about the betrayal, the infidelity, the heartbreaker. It made it all feel a little less heavy. I even ran into one of the men she'd been involved with. He didn't say much, just a quick nod like we both knew things would never be the same. I didn't punch him. I didn't even speak, because I wasn't there for revenge. I was done letting their choices control my emotions. I was focused on healing, not hurting back. I've learned that heartbreak doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes, it just leaves you with lessons, and the biggest one? Don't lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who already let go. You deserve honesty. You deserve loyalty. You deserve someone who fights for you, not someone you have to chase for the truth. I still believe in love, but now, I believe in self-respect even more. If you're watching this and going through something similar, know your worth isn't defined by someone else's betrayal. You are enough, and walking away isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the beginning of something better, something real. That's how my story ends. Not with revenge, not with hate, just with the decision to choose myself. Finally,